Started. We are counting down 2 days. The Warriors and Thunder head into the weekend with the series tied 1 apiece. The Warriors bounce back after getting blown out in the second half of Game 1 by routing the Thunder in Game 2. Now the series shifting to Oklahoma City. Stephen A., who do you think wins Game 3 Sunday night?
You know what? I'm going to go with the Warriors. I think that the Warriors are good. OKC will be ready. They will win one of these 2 games. I'm just guessing here. I'm thinking along the lines of who will win games 3 or 4 because I know both of them will split. I don't believe either are winning 2 straight in Oklahoma City. I'm going to go with Golden State to win this game. They'll be royal rested. They're fresh off a blowout victory. OKC will be hyped, no doubt. But at the same time, I think that the Warriors are looking to reclaim home court advantage and not be on the brink of something catastrophic, because if they lose this game, then they'd have to win Game 4, because going down 3-1 to OKC would spell doom for them. And I think they recognize that. I think they will respond to the challenge. They will show up, and they will deliver the goods on Sunday and win Game 3.
How close?
It'll be close, but I think ultimately Steph Curry and those boys will come to the rescue. It'll be late. They'll pull away and probably win by about 107, 100.
Okay. I'm going to go 105, 103 Warriors also. But here we go again. This is a little deja voodoo for me. The Warriors in Las Vegas, according to the odds makers, are 2.5-point favorites on Sunday night in Oklahoma City. Remember, my Spurs opened as a 2.5-point favorite ahead of Game 6 in Oklahoma City. So that gives me a little cause to pause. And so does Steph's elbow. And I know yesterday you said you don't have any misgivings, concern about it at all, right? You don't think it's any big issue, Steph's elbow?
No, I don't.
You know, I do consider myself a student of the body, if you will. I've had a lot of injuries. I've watched a lot of players go through a lot of bigger injuries. And there's something about this that doesn't ring true to me, Stephen A. When you have that kind of trauma on your shooting elbow to the point it balloons, and I'm going to say, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say it ballooned into a tennis ball style or sized swelling on his elbow. It's something went wrong in there. Bursasac pot, I don't know. Now I'm getting way deep. I don't even know what I'm talking about now. But there was some trauma in his elbow that created that much swelling. So yesterday they spoke about, well, we might have to drain it. You might have to drain his shooting elbow before a pivotal Game 3 here in Oklahoma City. I don't know. And then today I'm reading, no problem. To your point, no issues, no concern, according to Golden State. Unless they are misleading us, unless they're just trying to sweep this under the carpet and not indicate any concern on their part. But I wondered how sore it was. Obviously, it didn't hurt Steph in the third quarter of Game 2 because he went completely berserk and it didn't bother him a bit. So my question to you is, do you think he woke up sore the next day? Do you think he went out to shoot yesterday? Will he shoot today? And it will be sore to the point it will slightly affect his shooting motion. If it does, then all bets are off. If he struggles, if he can't find his rhythm, then all bets are off. But if he is Steph again, I just think that Golden State is a little bit better than Oklahoma City. I once again expect Kevin Durant to go nuclear, have a big game. Russell Westbrook has to have a bigger game than he had, especially in the second half the other night, as we know, 0 for 1 in that third quarter, when the ceiling fell in, obviously, on the visiting team. And yet, I think that Golden State was dominant enough the other night that they found themselves. They found their flow. That they found their confidence against this team, what will really work against this team. And so I think that will carry right over into a Game 3. Now, Game 4 would be up for grabs, to your point, because then Oklahoma City would be playing desperate before a crowd that, if it's not as loud as Oracle, it's real close. I think it's as loud, and it would be for Game 4. But I'm going to go Golden State with you on Sunday night.
I think that's the way to go. I mean, I just think they'll be ready. And not only that, I don't think it's all about Steph Curry. I think as long as he's on the floor, he's going to be formidable enough to be a distraction for other guys to get loose and come through, particularly in a Game 3 on the road. I think the level of urgency is something that the Warriors will carry with them. We obviously have no doubt that the Thunder will carry it as well, but I think they may be a bit more tighter than Golden State. And as a result, I'm going to go with Golden State for Game 3. Obviously, that means they'll be even tighter for Game 4. But I think they'll respond to that challenge. Ultimately, they're going to split Games 3 and 4, and the Warriors will go back to Golden State for Game 5, tied 2-2. That's what I believe.
I'm with you.
All right, so both of you going Warriors in a close one there, and then obviously, yeah, his elbow did look bad. We'll see how that pans out. Meanwhile, Christian McCaffrey was runner-up for the Heisman Trophy, but he doesn't think he's getting the respect he deserves. We'll explain. Skip and Stephen A. will react after the break. Speaking of last night, in a bizarre turn of events, Kyle Lowry, who is struggling with more turnovers than made shots, left the bench with 2.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter. After Lowry left the floor, the Cavs closed the half on a 12-2 run. Here's Lowry on why he left.
Just to kind of decompress, get back there, just kind of relax my body and relax my mind, and knowing that we had a chance to kind of make some things, and I wanted to get myself going and get myself going, to get my teammates going and get the team going, and it was nothing more than kind of just to decompress, breathe, get back out.
Have you ever done that before?
Yeah, I've done it plenty of times. Just now the magnitude of the situation shows a little bit more.
Decompressing during the game, Stephen A., what do you make of that?
Well, like I said earlier, I thought it came across as really, really weak, but then I want to pause and give sort of retract that a little bit. It's not something that I've heard of. It's not something that I think a guy should be doing. But when he said he's done it many times, then that kind of changes my feelings a little bit. Because if you've done it many times, that means the coach understands it, other folks understand it, and it has nothing to do with the moment per se. Just during a game, that's just your formula. It's something that you decide to do whenever you're coming to the bench. If you're going to go to the bench, coach takes you out the game, and it's something that you've done on many occasions, then I don't embrace it with the same level of cynicism that I did earlier. I didn't hear his quote when we first talked about it, Skip, in the first segment. But hearing it there, I must contend that I feel a little bit differently. I thought it came across as incredibly weak when I first heard about what happened. But when I listened to his quote, if it's something that he has done on many occasions during the regular season and other places, well, then that's just what you do. That's entirely different than struggling, being demoralized, completely overwhelmed, and then as a result, that's why you did it. If that's not the case and it's just something that you normally do and the coach and everybody is aware of it and they have no problem with it, then I can't see why I would have a problem with it.
Okay, I don't want to be too hard on Kyle Lowry either. I've always respected him and his game. And by the way, and you know this very well because you spent, 16 years in Philadelphia working?
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry's a Philly product. Went to high school in Philly, obviously went to Villanova, a city known for its basketball toughness, a school known for its basketball toughness, national champs. And now he's 30 years of age, and we've watched him in the last two series go through horrendous shooting slumps. He started off those first two games against Miami, 2 for 14 from 3. Now he's 1 for 15 from 3 in these two games, obviously in the conference finals against Cleveland. And this is just, you know how I am, Stephen A. I don't know him enough to know his background. I know he's made the last two All-Star games, the All-Star teams. But these last two series, he's almost starting to sound to me like Jordan Spieth. It's all about my support group, my family, my friends, we this. And and he's starting to sound mentally fragile to me. I get tired of Jordan Spieth. I know it's like an odd analogy, but Jordan Spieth is, we did this. And after a while, I want to just grab Jordan Spieth by the neck and shake him and say, no, you did it. You hit those balls in the water on 12 at Augusta. Sometimes I believe Jordan Spieth, if he'll start saying he will grow up and become the champion that he could become. Now back to Kyle Lowry at age 30. Man, it just seems like there's so much psychoanalysis going on inside his brain, like he's overthinking everything. And then there was the report that on the off day, I guess he texted Ty Lue, because they've played together before, knows him well, and asked if he could watch the Golden State-Oklahoma City game with Ty Lue, like at his house. And again, reportedly, Ty Lue said, no, probably not a good idea. It's not a good idea. It's almost like he needs Ty Lue to help fix him, give him a little psychoanalysis, give him a little coaching. Well, obviously, Ty does happen to coach the other team right now. So smacked of desperation. And I believe I heard Brian Wintour say that Kyle Lowry sort of, quote unquote, locked himself in his hotel room all day yesterday trying to get his mind right ahead of game 2. And obviously it didn't work. And then he has to go decompress. I don't know. I've never seen anything quite like this.
Well, let me say this. My comments about Kyle Lowry just a few seconds ago is specifically as it pertains to him leaving the bench to go back to the locker room to decompress. If it is something that he has always done throughout his career, I don't have a problem with it. I damn sure have a problem with him locking himself in his hotel room and going through that stuff mentally. And the biggest problem I have is how the hell are you, I don't care he's your friend and former, how the hell are you going to call, the coach of the opposing team?
I don't know.
That you're going up against. I mean, how you going to call him, to come over and chill and watch the game and decompress, look for his help while you're going up against him? Now, I mean, it doesn't get much weaker than that. Now, that's pathetic.
Yep.
That's pathetic. I mean, that's, you know what, to a far lesser degree, even though it has happened with other people, I'm here to tell you, in our business, Skip, that's like a reporter coming up to me or David Aldridge or Mark Stein or somebody and asking us for our breaking information so they could report it too. Now the funny part about it is that's actually happened. There have been people that have come up to me about literally asking like I would tell them. But the point that I'm trying to make to you is that it's sort of tantamount to that. It's like if you're competing, you're competing. You understand? And while you're competing against somebody, at least in that moment, they're the enemy. And to look to the opposing coach to help you out, that's very, very bad. So I'm in no way trying to gloss over that. I was just speaking about going off. If you come into the bench, instead of sitting on the bench, if you could go to the locker room for a few minutes to decompress, there's nothing wrong with it if you do it all the time and the coach is aware of it. Now, if he went and did that and Dwayne Casey turns around and is looking for him because it's not something he's ever done and suddenly he's done it during the playoffs, that would be a different matter altogether.
I agree. Now, he says he's done it, quote unquote, plenty of times. Maybe playing up in relative obscurity in Toronto, we haven't followed it closely. Maybe that is a common practice of his.
Maybe.
He picked about the worst time he could pick at 46 all to go decompress for a while. What was the run? 12-2.
12-2. Yeah.
Ball game.
Well, actually, I think it would have made him look worse if they were down and they were losing and getting blown out. The fact that they were tied and it was still a winnable game, he went to decompress. If you want to get your mind right so you can come out in the second half and do what you do, that would be different. I'm just saying to me it would have been a little bit worse if they were losing, because it's not like he asked to come out the game to go to the locker room. If he's coming to the bench and instead of just sitting there for a couple of minutes, he went back in the locker room, I don't really have a problem with
All right. So last point, and this is why I do not condemn Kyle Lowry. You remember what happened, how he bounced back in Game 7 against Miami? Game 7 again in Toronto. He bounced way back. He had 35 points. He made 5 of 7 threes. He had 9 assists and 7 rebounds. It was an all-star game. Again, Miami's shorthanded, no Hassan, no Bosch. We know all that. But still, it was a big-time prime-time sort of game. Way to go. So maybe he showed he's fully capable of bounce back. Maybe he bounces back tomorrow. What is it? Tomorrow night. Yeah.
Yep.
Clear his head,
Maybe.
get things back
Yeah.
on track. Yeah. You guys can't
All right.
decompress mid-show, though. We're just kidding. I know sometimes you want to, but you can't.
Well, I know somebody who does. Yeah.
Coming up next, Phil Mickelson.
I can decompress for an hour against you.
Yeah.
Making news leading up to the U.S. Open has nothing to do with his golf game. I will explain after the break. Stay with us.
Your attention and that substance in your system.